Wack 100 has never been the type to hold his tongue. In fact, he's built his entire persona on being brutally honest and saying what everyone else is too afraid to say. But this time, his words are cutting deeper than usual. In a recent and explosive stream of revelations, Wack 100 made bold and unsettling claims involving Big U, extortion plots, altered contracts, and even the possibility that Nipsey Hussle's death wasn't just a senseless tragedy, but something much darker, something calculated, something planned. The name Nipsey Hussle still carries a powerful weight in the streets of LA and far beyond. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a movement, a symbol of community building, ownership, and self-made success. That's why when he was gunned down outside his marathon store, the world mourned. It felt personal to many. But Wack 100 is now suggesting that what looked like street beef may have had more to it. And if what he's saying is even halfway true, the ripple effect could shake the culture at its core. According to Wack, the truth about Nipsey's death has been buried under layers of lies, politics, and fear. He's saying there were people close to Nipsey, people who were supposed to be protecting him, uplifting him, even representing him, who may have been working behind his back. Big U, a powerful figure in LA's street and music scene, is being pulled into the spotlight, not for his community work, not for his history, but for what Wack claims was an under-the-table power play that could have contributed to the setup of one of hip-hop's most respected icons. Wack 100 claims that Big U and others around Nipsey were involved in extortion tactics, that they were using Nipsey's name, image, and connections for financial gain, that they were trying to control his narrative and squeeze him for whatever he was worth. But Nipsey, known for being a boss in his own right, allegedly resisted those pressures. He didn't want to play the game. He was building his own lane, owning his masters, buying back his block. And in a world where control equals power, that kind of independence can make someone a target. There's also talk of altered contracts. Wack implies that paperwork was being changed behind the scenes, that money was being moved around in ways Nipsey might not have been fully aware of, that deals were signed and sealed without his full consent. And if these claims are true, it paints a picture of betrayal at the highest level, business partners turning into puppeteers, using every legal loophole they could find to leech off a rising star. But the heaviest claim of all is the suggestion that Nipsey's murder may have been more than just a spur-of-the-moment act by Eric Holder. Wack 100 hints that there were layers to this situation, that people wanted Nipsey gone not because of personal beef, but because he was becoming too powerful, too independent, too uncontrollable. In a city like Los Angeles, where politics, gangs, and the music industry often collide, power can be a dangerous thing to hold. If Wack's narrative holds weight, then this wasn't just a murder, it was a hit, a coordinated effort to remove someone who was disrupting the status quo. And it wouldn't be the first time that a beloved figure in hip-hop met a mysterious and controversial end. We've seen this before. From Tupac to Biggie, from Pop Smoke to XXXTentacion. The deeper someone goes into independence, the more enemies seem to pop up. Wack 100 isn't a stranger to controversy. Some people say he's just clout chasing, looking for headlines. Others say he knows exactly what he's talking about, because he's been in the room. He's managed artists, dealt with labels, walked both sides of the street code and the boardroom. So when he starts dropping names, people listen, even if they don't want to believe him. The tension between Wack 100 and Big U has been brewing for a while now. There's bad blood, history, and unresolved drama that adds even more weight to these accusations. And while Big U hasn't gone into full detail in response, the silence in certain circles is starting to feel louder than words. Nobody wants to touch this with a 10-foot pole, because once you open the door to these kinds of conversations, there's no closing it. What makes this even more disturbing is the idea that Nipsey might have sensed it coming. In some of his interviews, he spoke about fake friends, shady deals, and people trying to use him. He didn't name names, but you could hear it in his tone. He knew he was moving in dangerous territory. He knew that building something real in a system built on control was going to make him enemies. Fans are already torn. Some don't want to believe any of it. To them, Nipsey was protected by love and loyalty. To suggest anything else feels like disrespect. But others are connecting the dots, digging into old footage, interviews, and paperwork, looking for patterns. And what they're finding only raises more questions. If the allegations of extortion are true, then this isn't just about music. It's about power and silence. It's about how some people operate behind the scenes, pulling strings and using fear to get what they want. If contracts were altered, then we're talking about deep industry corruption, where ownership and money are stolen in the shadows. And if this was a hit, as Wack 100 suggests, then it's a tragedy far bigger than anyone could have imagined. This story isn't over. It's barely begun. Wack 100 has promised more receipts, more details, and more names. He says he's tired of lies and tired of people protecting fake narratives. He wants the truth out, no matter how ugly it is. Whether you love him or hate him, it's clear he's forcing a conversation that people have been avoiding for years. The murder of Nipsey Hussle broke hearts around the world. It was a moment of deep pain, not just because we lost a talented artist, but because we lost a leader, a visionary, someone who was walking the talk. If the truth about his death includes betrayal from people close to him, then the pain gets even deeper. What Wack 100 is doing right now is dangerous. He's calling out names in a world where silence is currency. He's stepping into territory where real consequences exist. But maybe that's what makes this moment so important. Maybe the culture needs to confront the shadows. Maybe it's time we stop pretending the music industry is all glitz and success, and start recognizing the systems of control, manipulation, and fear that operate underneath. One thing is certain, Nipsey Hussle deserves the truth. His family, his fans, his community, they all deserve to know what really happened. And if Wack 100 is telling even a fraction of that truth, then the hip-hop world is in for a serious reckoning. There are no easy answers here. No clear villains, no simple conclusions. Just layers upon layers of pain, power, and politics. But the more people talk, the harder it becomes to bury the truth. And maybe that's what Wack 100 wants. Not clout, not fame. Just for people to finally open their eyes. Because if Nipsey really was betrayed, really was set up, and really was sacrificed by the same system he tried to rise above, then silence is no longer an option.